Okay, so welcome back again, guys. And here, if you can tell from the engine, we've got another W213 E-Class 654 engine. And yes, we are going to do the timing chain, and you're probably going to say completely the same job, same video. But the difference with this one is, this is the first vehicle that we done the rocker arms job on. I think it was around 2 years ago. It's been 2 years exactly. And it's been having an issue with the chain for the past 2 to 3 months. We've let the customer know to keep an eye out for it eventually, that it could be getting worse, and then you might have to either replace the engine or get the timing chain done. So now we've got our bodywork to take off the front end. I've taken off a few of the mechanical stuff for the AdBlue nozzle here, a few sensors, taken off the air filter box, ECU plugs, got a coolant pipe here, and plugs from the starter and alternator that go there. Now, as the front end is off, all I've got left to do is just drain the oil, empty the oil filter, take off the bottom cover, remove the rear gearbox mounting, a few plugs, engine mounts, exhaust, and should be ready to come out. Okay, so we've removed the prop shaft, gearbox mounting is unbolted, as well as the exhaust. And also watch out for this gearbox plug here. It's a bit difficult to take off, it will be a little bit tight. And also, if I'm taking out the engine and doing out the timing chain job, I take out the bottom bolts, 1, 2, there's one here, and a one through here, you can't see. I take it off while the engine's still on the car, as it is more difficult once the engine is on the crane, separating it. I've emptied the oil, unbolted the engine mount on this side and this side. All I've got left are these two fuel pipes. So once I remove those, and I've disconnected there's a shaft earth cable here. All that's left, as I said, is just these two fuel pipes. Once I remove those, engine should be all ready to come out. Okay, so now the engine is out, and we'll start off from taking off the DPF cat, and I think it's the low pressure EGR pipe here. Unplug a few sensors from the front, take off the DPF, and then start removing the gearbox side slowly, and put the engine on a table, start our job for the timing chain. Okay, so now, as we've said, we've taken off the DPF, sensors, cat, removed the gearbox. Now we're going to start off with taking off the sump, unplugging the oil level sensor, and then to remove this timing chain cover, you need to remove this. The sump comes two parts. There's the lower part here and the upper part, and then start unplugging, taking off the turbo pipes, EGR cooler, low pressure, glow plug control module. Just take it off with the two Torx, one here, one there, and then get access to our timing chain. Okay, so now we've cleaned up everything at the back, the charger cooler pipe, EGR cooler, low pressure EGR cooler, the turbo intake pipe there. Yeah, we've taken off the two plastic sumps, the oil pressure switch, and before we put it onto the table, we just remove the timing chain cover bolts that are on the inside. So there's 6 of them, 3 on this side, 3 here, and then the rest is all out on this side. Now once we put it on the table, we're going to start from the top. So injectors, rocker cover off, then we'll take this cover off, timing chain, that's this where the idler gear is. And then once we take this off, we'll get access to take off the timing chain cover, and we will inspect what the situation is down there. Okay, so I've taken off the injectors, rocker cover, the camshafts, rear timing chain cover, and as you can see, one of our broken guide pieces are there, another one is there. You can see the broken guide piece is there. And once we take off the guides individually, we'll be able to see much more clearly. Okay, so we've taken off our timing chain, oil pump chain, the guides, cleaned up the surface. We've cleaned up the timing chain cover and the, what do you call it, the sprockets there that we're going to use. We make sure that the surface is clean and it's nice so that the timing chain cover sits flush. We don't want any oil leaks. Yeah, and we inspected the rocker arms as well. Just one of them was worn, but it's been around 80,000 miles, 75, 80,000 miles since we've replaced them. Just one of them seems worn. We'll be replacing that as well. The other seemed all fine. So yeah, we're just gonna put the oil pump chain and start closing it up. Okay, so here we have the main part of the sump, which we've cleaned up. And also there was a lot of debris in here. You can see some of the broken timing chain guides. So we just took this out, cleaned it out, make sure there won't be any blockage. That's the lower part of the sump that we cleaned up as well. The rocker cover, we will be going ahead and replacing these bolts, as these are prone to fail and break once we tighten it up, especially as this vehicle's the first car we've done the rocker cover on, the rocker arms on. So even when we were taking out, a couple of them broke, so one here and one there. Here's the timing chain cover, idler gears and the camshaft gears. And we're just waiting for one of the guides, as it was missing, so we're just waiting for that to arrive. As you can see, we've just put the rest on the oil pump chain. And once that comes, we'll put it back together. Okay, so timing chain is intact, as you can see. Everything's put back together, timing chain cover on, sealed up nicely. We also replaced the rocker arms with new ones, hydraulic lifters, all the relevant gaskets. Now we're just going to set up the timing, make sure everything sits correctly, spin the engine round so we know that timing is 100% correct. And then once that's on, we will close up with the rocker cover, injectors, then put the bottom sump on. And then everything should be ready to go back together with, we've got the turbo pipe from here to here, the EGR cooler, EGR low pressure. So I hope we're planning to at least close up this engine today. Okay, so everything's closed up, rocker cover, injector, sump with the new gaskets, DPF back on, gearbox back on, starter motor, electrical plugs. We've put the engine oil in it as well, just to see if there is any cracks or leaks anywhere, rather than noticing now than later. We will shortly be putting the engine back in, mounting everything back up and starting it up just before we put the front end on, just so that we're certain that everything is fine. Okay, so now we've put the engine back into its place, tighten up the exhaust, put the ECU airbox on, put the fuel pipes on, what else, engine mounts tightened up, and what else is there left? Now we're just going to start up the engine just to see if everything sounds fine before we go ahead with closing up. You can see this engine mount bolt here, you can access it through here, but this side you have to go from underneath, as it is a bit all the way down in there. Can't even see it clearly. So now we're just gonna start the vehicle. Okay, we're gonna start the engine now. Engine is sounding all good. Now we will be lifting it up, check for any leaks, have it running for a minute and there's no radiator and coolant. And once everything seems good, we'll just carry on closing up the front end. Okay, so we've put the rads on. filled up the coolant. I don't know if you noticed earlier on the first start, it was leaked some exhaust gases from here, so we've rectified that. Just make sure everything is good, no leaks or anything we're gonna turn around and take off for, just to be certain before we go ahead closing it up. But for now, everything seems good. There might be a loud noise coming, and that's because this airbox here is open. Once we close it off fully, you'll see the sound difference. But yeah, everything seems good. Let's give that another 15-20 minutes, make sure everything is good, running fine, and we'll close it off. Okay, so this is the vehicle that we done the timing chain on. We told the customer to bring it back in 500 miles just so we can check over it, check for it, make sure there's no leaks, anything unusual, everything's working fine. And we've just done our checks, everything's all good, customer's happy. We've also just done a thorough check on the suspension, brakes as well, advise them on a few things to look out for in the near future. And this is the end of our video, and I hope you guys have enjoyed, and you will like, comment and subscribe.